Everything said on this podcast is entirely for entertainment purposes only. This is satirical and should not be considered clinical advice in any situation. Please use your own clinical judgment, using your own knowledge, expertise, and research. Consult with your local eye department if you're unsure, and always act in the best interest of the patient. Do not listen to the things that we say and take it seriously.
Hey guys, welcome back to Glasses Half Full. Thanks for joining us again. In this episode, hopefully we'll be talking about the disparity and what university preps us for, what the real world is actually like. Hopefully we'll be covering some surprises, shocks, and maybe even a couple of disappointments.
The fixation disparity of.
You're doing well to say that.
Sorry, that's the only time.
Well, that's getting cut out.
That's absolutely not getting cut out.
Okay, so by design, naturally universities are a very academic atmosphere.
Yeah.
And they do have clinics. Well, at least Ulster University had clinics.
Yeah.
Same with Manchester.
At Thursday we had quite a bit of
I think
clinics.
everybody has clinics.
Yeah. So it's so with the academic atmosphere, I feel that you don't really get to experience much of the business side of things, and I think
retail is basically not mentioned in at university, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you realise that when you're doing your dispensing clinics and you can just go absolutely bananas, like I'll give this patient 1.74 high index with transition lenses and polarized filter and
that comes out to be 600 quid.
Oh, then okay.
Monopoly money.
Monopoly money, yeah.
But yeah, so it's which is great because that's kind of it's a
clinically it's great because you're doing what's best for the patient and the patient's happy with that.
But obviously the real world isn't quite like that.
Definitely not.
I feel that. So Shaib, you didn't have the experience of working at a multiple or in the retail or on the high street prior to university, correct?
Not in optics. Not in optics, anyway. Yeah.
So was there an adaptation period where you found out, hold on, it's not just about, there is a business side to things, and lights do need to stay on, and that only happens if the bottom line is adding up.
Yeah, you kind of get an experience of that in pre-reg when you realise. There's a moment where you realise in pre-reg, I assume most people get this before pre-reg, but I discovered this during pre-reg, that you are essentially, to some degree, just cheap labour. But maybe not at the start. You're more of a burden at that point where they take a lot of teaching time on you.
Yeah.
But when you get to the stage where you're pumping out a good few eye tests a day, you're essentially minimum wage testing, and you realise that there is a very commercial side to optometry, and essentially you're a small cog in the machine at that stage.
Yeah.
I was quite fortunate in the place where I did my optical assistant work and my initial pre-reg. There wasn't really any sales pressure.
Yeah.
Which reflects in the fact that place to date has yet to turn over a profit. Hey, hold on. 2 + 2. So I never really experienced that until I moved away. And over there, I never heard I heard conversion being mentioned more in university than it did.
Really?
Yeah. Conversion, average. I didn't know any of that. I had to find that, what that was, what an average was.
Oh.
It was only in university where I was exposed to that. So
why, because you worked a little bit whilst you were at university, though. So the place that you're working at was
like that's the same place I did my pre-reg. That's where some
yeah. So they just didn't mention it there.
No.
There's no sales pressure.
What about actual dispensing then? Did you not? Because you talk about retail, but dispensing. Like the clinical part of dispensing was different. I found as well.
Explain.
So when I went to work as I was a university student, so you'd learn all of this extra stuff that you need to measure for dispensing glasses or spectacles, as you should be calling them. But then when you go to an unnamed multiple, some places don't even want you to be using a city rule or PD rule. Use like an iPad or something like that. And even when you do use a city rule, you do like PDs, maybe heights, and that's it. You just put it in the machine. And
binocular PDs at that.
Yeah, binocular PDs as well. Monoculars if you have to do monocular, basically.
Yeah. I got in trouble for using a city rule in my pre-reg.
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of an iPad.
There was a store manager who was very keen on me using the iPad. She said you can use the ruler, but then you've got to put it away and use the iPad as well.
You have to use both of them.
I
Yeah.
just continued to use the thing and made sure she wasn't looking when I was.
And then the thing is, like at
Shocking.
university,
I can't believe you have to do that.
at
That's what
university,
university
we
have to do.
I didn't.
we would
use
get
it, but-
told off for using city rules because we had to be using the PD rule after they'd be more accurate.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
At uni, they told us off for using city rules to measure the PD.
What's a PD rule?
It's the one with the little.
That's not official.
No, we got told that the headset
Yeah,
that was the most.
that was the
accurate.
most accurate one.
Yeah.
So in the dispensing clinic, we weren't allowed to use anything but the headset.
Click, 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 click.
The one where you like move the line to the eyes.
Yeah.
That one.
It's very
Yeah.
accurate. That.
It is.
Why don't we have that in the high street?
Yeah, instead of using
Expense and
iPhones.
time, I guess.
It's
How expensive is that piece of equipment relative
it's
to?
specialized, so it would be pretty expensive.
As in,
Compared to
I
an
assume that's
app-
like £100.
compared to an app.
I'd,
on an
I'd say
iPhone
like
that you already have.
I'd say a couple hundred a pop,
Yeah, a couple hundred. Like
but
half.
it only has one use for it.
Yeah,
Whereas an iPad, you have stock checker on it, you have
of course, but
so much other things.
it's a couple hundred quid
Um,
as a business side of things, just for really accurate dispensing.
For you, did you find? Because when I went into pre-year, so started working full time, it was kind of like I really hated the retail side of it. So I tried to be as clinical as possible.
In what aspect?
In
You
aspects
just had
like-
really low conversions. That's what it is.
well, to be honest, because to some extent they promote you overselling, and I really hated that. So if there was an 025 change at university, you'd not be selling them to get glasses with an 025 change. But in stores, some stores they'd be like, yeah, you need to say that there's been a change and they need new glasses.
No, it's I remember it was actually a pre-reg who was shadowing me, was actually sitting in with me, and the patient could notice a difference. It was about no 50 in one eye, but 45 in the other eye.
Yeah.
And I advised an update. It's been 2 years, etc. We're going to get glasses anyway, even if there wasn't an update. They wanted a fresh pair, and he was like, "Oh, did they really need new glasses? That wasn't much of a change." 45 one eye, I think if you're getting extra more minus 45, I think that's a pretty easy
Minus.
advice. Yeah, they went more minus 45. I think that's pretty easy advice. to get
Yeah,
new
or
glasses.
50, 025. That's
Yeah,
yes, half a line.
but yeah, exactly.
What was this pre-reg on?
A lot to learn. But then,
Yeah, that pre-reg is.
it just reminded me that there was a case where some things you would be in a complete vacuum with nothing else. That line is a lot more blurred than, it's been 2 years. You might want to get new glasses, a bit of wear and tear, a bit of fresh pair, etc.
Yeah, I think most people, if they're going to wear it daily and wear it full time, a year to 2 years, they need to be updating their glasses anyway. You'd get the odd one that wears it for 12 years, of course.
Yeah, no,
Hanging on by a thread.
I had a 25-year-old on Tuesday, and they were replacing their 9-year-old glasses.
Oh my
I was
god!
thinking, he's been wearing that since he's 16.
What, with the little Disney
Was Frozen even around then? How was Frozen?
few years.
But,
Maybe not that many.
Oh no, it has been. It's 23 in it, so it would be around. It's 9 years.
When did Frozen come out?
2013.
How do you know that?
Because I remember.
He was there.
I was there.
He was there with the
I was part of the
queuing
Let
up.
It Go the train.
Okay. But yeah, so that did remind me that sometimes the line is a bit more blurred. But yeah, so moving on from just sales pressure, clinic times. What do you mean by that?
Because the full cycles that we had, we were given a 2-hour slot for one patient.
Yeah, but the clear expectation was not that the 2 hours is what you'd been
Yes,
expecting.
but when I remember towards the end of the year when I supposedly got faster, I would do a full test in 45 minutes to 50 minutes. Yeah.
You were finishing your test.
Yeah.
I was getting to maybe starting off that if I was
in
lucky.
2 hours. You
No.
got 2 hours per patient, didn't you?
Yeah, but you didn't start straight away, did you?
You didn't.
You started
But
like half an hour.
I
really.
remember I would like my whole thing was like, okay, I'm gonna, because I only had that, and then I had like I had the further investigative techniques clinic like at 2 o'clock. So I'd be like, this is my 9 a.m. I'd do this in 45 minutes, go back home to sleep. So
Sleep.
yeah.
I get sleep at that. Yeah.
So what I would do was I'd go and I'd bang out like a quick
bang out a 45-minute test.
bang out a quick 50-minute test. Yeah.
Bang out a 1 hour
And like
patient.
my supervisor was like, wow, you're really quick and you're pretty accurate, because they had to check it as well. Like, yeah, and you're really accurate. That's very good. And then I come to pre-reg and I'm just like seeing these people doing like 20, 25-minute tests. I'm like, how the hell are you doing that? You must be skipping some steps. This is not legal.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was
It can feel like that overwhelming at first,
Yeah.
can't it? But then eventually you get to the point where you start doing 10-minute eye tests.
But how did you like? What was your more in dispensing now? How was your transition through dispensing now?
Or dispensing,
Was
there
it
was
similar
there
to
was no
mine?
history of dispensing before pre-reg. In pre-reg, I learned what a dispense was for the first time. I had an OA teacher to me,
but you were
an OA who I now have to check.
But
And
but in university, you were explaining how to take a PT, you explained dispensing, what
of course,
right.
but then
So was that
it
all
reached
in
the
clinic as
stage where,
well?
yeah, but then you reach that stage where you're in practice and you're like, right, I'm dispensing a varifocal. What do I need to do here? Oh, I just need to do PDs and heights. That's all it is. Like in uni, I had a massive checklist of 50 things. I'm not going to measure the pantoscopic tilt here. I don't need to measure the angle of let back or all of these things. I don't know what they are anymore. Because that's what university is. You have this whole list of, there's a full A4 sheet that you had to fill in all the little boxes for.
You had to know what each measurement was for. So like you wouldn't need to do panto for a single vision distance lens.
Of course not.
You know what I mean?
Depending on the lens.
I've never done pantoscopic in my life, not even at uni.
It's for varifocals.
I've seen it affect one patient in my life.
Wow, you don't know this. So with varifocals, especially when people have problems with the varifocals in the reading, they always check the panto, even in spectators.
Yeah, no, obviously because the height isn't lined up.
It's not that. It's because when you have it at a height, the distance between the lens and your eyes is larger when you pantoscopic tilt is like straight. So you tilt it, so when you look down, it's the same. It's equidistant when you look down, and also when you look straight ahead.
Because of circles.
And that's relevant because your BBD is the same throughout.
It's not going to change over 2 mils.
It is no, but with varifocals, it does make a difference. Because if you have
because of the prismatic
RX,
effect.
you have a high RX.
No, but it's the difference in varifocals. It's the ad difference. The most you're going to get is a 2.5.
Yeah, but your BBD used to be the same. Because if you have a high ad, and let's say you have your distance is at, let's say, 9 millimeters, but then your reading would be at like 12, or maybe even larger than that.
Yeah. Moving on to, so from clinic times.
Yeah, in university, I think for me the clinic times was the full 2 hours. I was using the full 2 hours all the way through, and by the end of it, I was getting to a point where I could do a relatively decent ophthalmoscopy myself.
Yeah.
My supervisor didn't let me use a slit lamp, which I found really annoying. So I didn't get a lot of Volt practice at uni.
I don't think I ever used a slit lamp for my.
I used direct in uni, so I'd get to the point where I'd finish my sight test in an hour and a half, and I'd have half an hour of messing about with ophthal, and then the supervisor would take 15 minutes to check.
Yeah.
But because I was doing every test under the sun on every single patient, all the fixation disparities and all the monocular testing and the binocular balancing and things that you would do usually, but you'd do it on a case by case, color vision testing on a 70-year-old for no reason. But when I came to practice, my clinic was set at 1 hour on the nose. I didn't have that. I don't know why some people get hour and a half clinics in practice.
Really? No, I had 1 hour.
I have some people. I know some. I knew some pre-reg just taking an hour and a half.
Wait, no. The pre-regs in our old store, they started out with 2. Their first 2 days they started out with 2 hours. Yeah.
I'd love a 2-hour clinic.
Their first two clinic days.
That's where you have to understand the difference between university clinics and the real world. In the real world, no patient wants to sit there for 2 hours with little pre-reg on the first day of the job. With an optometrist, but with a
routine sight test.
For a routine sight test, they don't want to spend 2 hours sat there with you, like trying to figure out how to use the slit lamp for the first time. So I think an hour is a fair compromise, because what I did anyway was I was told, you've got an hour, get started, do as much as you can, knock on my door when there's 10 minutes left, and I'll do the rest.
I'm just imagining a patient being sat there for 2 hours.
Oh my god!
What can you
2
do
hours.
For
You could watch.
I know that this
You could watch which Star Wars movies? Are they 2 hours? Or?
You could watch nearly any Disney movie.
Any Disney movie.
You could watch Frozen.
You could watch Frozen.
But I remember one of the pre-regs I was in, one of the Specsavers course with. She 2 of her patients to take over 90 minutes, and the store actually paid the parking fines that they got because their parking ran out.
Wow.
And because they're in the eye test, they can do it. And
yeah.
They came out, and the store actually happened twice to pay the parking fines. So it's, some people do need well, you shouldn't. I don't think, but some people do need a little bit more time. remember asking a couple of the optoms in my store, oh, how do you do? You do your test, in 20, 25 minutes. And obviously for us, it's like, okay, that's normal. And they're like, oh, you don't need to do all this. Like, you find out that you don't need to do as many tests as you need to do, and you get faster at the other ones. I'm like, what? So like, you don't need to do like crossing and stuff like that. I'm like, no, that's still one of the ones. Like, okay, what about like plus one blur? It's like, no, that's also one that we still do.
Sometimes you don't need to do plus one.
But it's like that's still one of the frequently used ones.
Yeah, like you still do it.
Yeah, I don't. Not all
but
the time.
like stereopsis.
No, yeah, but it's like I was like,
color vision.
I knew that. I wasn't planning on doing Maddox rod in every single patient off the door. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I just have to get faster. So,
what was your biggest adaptation that you had to make? Like something that let's say you were doing at uni, you get into pre-reg or you start working, and you're like, whoa, this is much more different than I anticipated it being. What was that one thing that you found really tricky to get used to?
I actually found the not tricky to get used to, but the independence, that was very different. I found it very different.
Oh, the fact that there's no one watching you, like
the fact that you just as in the university clinic, it's very engaging. Well, at least my one was. We always use slit lamp. I don't know, that's unusual.
You know what? For me, I just did the competency for the Volk and the slit lamps,
and then
I just stopped using the slit lamp for the rest of the year.
No, we just did
didn't do the
ophthalmoscopy. We just did the ophthalmoscopy competency.
I didn't do
did it maybe once or twice, and then just
we had a slit lamp competency in year 2. It was the only competency we had in year 2. This guy failed it, and he never even got around to like doing it. Every single retake, he kept failing it. So he passed it without passing that competency.
Shocking. That's your GC number gone.
I am competent on a slit lamp, by the way.
And I found just being on your own and that responsibility, it was welcome. I didn't want someone over my shoulder.
No.
But it was very different. I found that the biggest difference. Because in the beginning, it's all very gradual. Yes, I did have 1 hour clinic slots. And yes, the average patient didn't take nearly that amount of time. And after the first, I don't know, couple of weeks after you've seen your first 20, 30, 40, 50 patients, you find out that, hold on, I thought I was competent at bulk. Now I'm competent at bulk. And then 100 tests later, you realize, okay, I thought I was competent at bulk.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. And then, but that was the whole thing. But that was all I found quite gradual.
Yeah.
I think it must have also helped the fact that I worked in that place before, so I kind of knew what to expect, and there wasn't any sales pressure where I worked there. So for me, it was just the big wide world, and that step, that psychological step, when you get your juicy number and then your test is in your name, that was.
Oh. That's a scary one, isn't it?
I remember, I remember the patient. I remember thinking, this guy's got no idea. Like, this guy has no idea that he's my first, on like a Thursday morning, he's my first test. I was like, to him, he's just coming for a routine.
Yeah.
Check. But
and that's when you start doing your Maddox rod. You start your color vision testing and your plus one ads.
I started cross-hill again.
Your cross-hill, yeah. You start doing all the tests again.
But,
no, actually, I am going to dilate this one.
What about you? What was your like big thing that
Welcome
you had to
the
change?
real world.
Yeah, like, oh my god, this is not what I was like.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
No, similar sort of things, just that jump into having your own clinic and having responsibility of the patients. I think one thing that I really appreciated about my supervisor from very early on was that it was never a case of these are my testing, I'm delegating it to you. It was always a case of these are your patients, these are your tests. You tell me what you want to do with it, and unless you're gonna like do something like let a papilledema go, I'm not gonna intervene until you're very stuck. Even when I was very stuck, I would knock on his door and I'd say, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. And it would never be a case of, oh yeah, this is what's happening. It would always be, right, what do the tests show? What's normal? What's abnormal? What do you think's happening? What are we going to do next? What are you going to do about it? It was always a case of him just sort of having to spell it out to me.
Was there not one thing that like you found quite tricky to get used to, or like something that like stood out as like this is not something that I'm used to doing this?
Really tricky? Come on.
This all in a day's work. Right? No. It's like I said, it's not something that's tricky to get used to, but it's just a sort of like, oh wow, this is real kind of moment, which is that independency you have. in the responsibility that you have over your patients, where even though you're being supervised and it's going under somebody else's name, it's still your patient and your responsibility. He's not gonna do the follow-up calls on the papilledema. He's going to say to me that you need to do that, in a few days' time and see what happened. And you had the notes on. And when it was referral letters, he'd sign his name at the bottom, but it would be my name going on there and pre-reg optometrist at the bottom. So having that responsibility over my patients and having that independence to make the decisions, and only ever having that step in when I'd gone wildly wrong or when I was really stuck and couldn't help. I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've had to say, I just don't know what I'm doing here. Can you just step in and help me out?
Yeah.
Including early days. And I'm talking about previous detachments and low vision and kind of keratoconus kind of sills situations. On one hand, the amount of times I've had to just hand a test over and say, I don't know where I'm going.
Did you hand it over to your supervisor for them to do the test, or?
Oh yeah. On some occasions I've had to do that. Where I've just said I really don't know where I'm going here. I've done X, Y, Z. I'm at a dead end here. And then he said, just send it over to me and we'll swap.
What type of thing? What type of?
As in there was some that were keratoconus, but they were really hard to refract, and I couldn't get a best sphere on them.
Early days in your pre-reg, basically.
You still last week.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, early days. If I wanted to do it last week, I would just give them something and let them have a retest. That's the trick. It's
that's what you do now.
Yeah, just give them terrible customer service. Just tell them go.
I don't want to see that.
Go to another unnamed brand and they'll fix it for you.
So, aside from the test that you're doing, aside from the sales pressure, was there anything that you found? Actually, no, we haven't gone on to you, Mehdi. Was there anything that was the biggest obstacle or not obstacle, a surprise for you?
Mine was. Let me think about it a little bit.
We'll talk about something else. So
the thing is, the supervising area wasn't that much of an issue for me because I was used to my supervisor from university just leaving me with the patient and then coming at the end to check, and that's what was done at my pre-reg basically. The thing with me that was I found really tricky was time constraints, especially because I hadn't tested for about a year. Yeah, because COVID cut off clinics in March time, and I didn't start testing full site tests until February time, January time.
Goodness me!
So nearly a whole year I had not been in a testing room. So I was really struggling with that, and I didn't get a 2-hour clinic. I had a 1-hour clinic, and I was overtime.
I think most people
but
But were you finishing your site test?
2 hours when they first started.
Were you finishing your site test in that time?
No, I wasn't because I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh yeah, fair.
Imagine.
No, I did not know what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Could be us.
No,
As in, I ran out of time because my refractions were taking 40 minutes.
Not necessarily I didn't know what tests I was doing. It was more of I didn't know the structure I needed to follow.
You didn't have a structure from university?
Not really.
You didn't learn that you do history.
So for example, my history symptoms, I had a little sheet of questions I should be asking. So I had that with me, so I asked them through that. But
there's tabs in front of you.
Yeah, but the tabs, I was new to all the tabs. I was like, wait, what do I put?
He's been working there for 3 years and he doesn't know what the tabs are.
Yeah, because I've never had access to the testing tabs.
Were you not testing staff to begin with and stuff like that?
Oh, I never.
Not
straight to patients.
No. Really? Oh, I had a few staff to start with.
I got one. I had to stay late for this actually. I got the director asked his wife to come in. I did a test on her with him supervising me after 5, so that he could just see if I knew what I was doing in the test room. So that was one practice one, and then I had another practice one on the staff, and then I saw real patients after that. But those were just untimed.
That's
go
the thing.
for it.
So the thing that I found that was tricky was getting my routine when I'm testing, when I'm in the testing room, sorting that out was the trickiest thing for me. Everything else regarding the store I could do because I knew the whole store. I knew the interface very well. It's just that test room tab that I did not know anything about. The test room, the testing.
I'm quite surprised.
I found what helped me in that stage was I literally went home and I got an A4 sheet and I wrote out the headings of what you need to do in that order. So I took one of the university template sheets and I wrote history and symptoms, pupils motility, cover tests, and I wrote it in that order, and I had that sheet with me on the desk, open at all times. I had one for contact lenses, one for aftercare.
It's not even just that. It's when do I get time to type everything up?
Oh no, I was doing that as I went along.
But on the first day, because I didn't know
No,
what
no,
I was doing. I was like,
I
wait, I
test.
can't have awkward silence whilst I'm typing. So what do I do?
I let them say an awkward.
Yeah,
So
I do that now. I had a gent today. I had a gent today with a. I had a gent. With,
no, 100%.
I had a gent with a branch vein occlusion in one eye, and I tell you, I saw the occlusion, I saw the edema, and I came in completely asymptomatic. It was off the macula. Did all the subjective, did all the Volk, and then I turn around to my computer and I type out a GP letter, I type out a hospital referral letter, print it all out, type my notes. He can see me printing off like different referral letters, putting one in an envelope and writing his name on it and writing the GP surgery on it.
Off you go.
And then I print off the prescription and then I turn to him and say, "So I've seen something at the back of one eye."
Oh, you did? Oh,
This guy just does the side test. He's silent. Okay, he's watching you take out
No,
referrals.
I've said to him,
like
just
he's
give me a
referring me for something.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you're going blind.
No, it was fine. It was 6/6. It was just it was a peripheral.
It was
a hemorrhage.
Yeah, but it was like a there was a lot of, it was weird. It looked like there was all the exudates first and then all the edema.
You know what?
In that exact pattern.
You mentioned hemorrhage. Something that I found was really wording was very important. Like if you say there's a bit of a bleed in the back of the eye, it doesn't sound that bad. If you say there's a hemorrhage, I think they're gonna die.
Yeah, for sure.
So
were you not? Yeah, this is.
No,
Did you not, because learn how to talk to people.
because I was taught this, but the thing is that you don't really experience it until you actually are there.
No, I was.
So in my sight test, I didn't have any pathology in the sight test that I did in university. So nothing was out in the ordinary.
You didn't have like
not even nipping.
Ocular disease lectures.
I did not see like even nipping.
Was that not covered in university?
It was covered, but I didn't see it at all. Like when
you didn't see the lecture slides where they were showing it.
No, but in terms of
explaining to the patient.
Yeah, you didn't have like the communication competencies where the examiner sat down and said to you, "Hi, I have."
I did have them.
MGT explain.
I did, but it's different. Like in pre just because it's an actual patient that is a lay person that's not a volunteer and does not know what anything about the eye means.
Were you not speaking to your volunteers as lay people?
I was, but they knew everything anyway, so it's not like they would.
Well, you said, you've got MG. Do you know what that is? Don't you? You were here last year.
No. But like for example, like that was something that I had to like get grips with, especially with like flashing lights and floaters. With flashing lights and floaters, I was like, okay, so this is what it could be. But like the way I would say it kind of stressed them out a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, I refined it. I say it like it's most likely nothing, but we've got to check for this anyway.
There's carpet and it's doing this.
Your eye ripping out.
Your eyeball's gonna fall out now. Get ready to catch it.
I remember being asked to explain to a patient what's AMD. I was like, oh, it's waste deposits in the eye. It's like, don't tell a patient they've got waste deposits in the eye.
There's a bit of wear and tear in the back of the eye.
Natural degradation happens a little bit. It's a bit worse than normal, etc. How often are you advising them to do Amsler? Because I've heard some. I
say, just if you notice any change in your vision, just check that there's no changes in the distortion here.
Once a week.
Once a week.
I say once a week. So
yeah, but they're not going to do that.
What happens?
They never do it.
If on Monday, they have AMD. Okay, something happens. They don't notice anything, but they check every Friday. Is that clinically? Would you say that's clinically?
Yeah, because it takes a few weeks for it to actually.
No, because if it's asymptomatic, then it's less problematic, isn't it? If it's asymptomatic, it's less problematic.
What's the answer for?
The Amsler is literally just look at the table edge and tell me if it's straight.
To some extent.
It's just a way of monitoring it.
I was taught, and what I tell my patients is, put it on the fridge. Okay, put it beside the kettle.
Yeah, they say that to do it frequently.
No. Put it beside the kettle. Put it beside fridge. Put it somewhere you frequent multiple times a day. Okay. Then when you go there, just quickly close one eye at a time. Check the other eye.
They've got to put their reading glasses on, haven't they?
Yeah, but okay.
Who takes their reading glasses to the fridge?
You very focused, or you advise them, or just bring your reading glasses. 100%. I advise this every time.
I just tell them to, if they notice any changes in their vision, just do it. Because you're not going to be asymptomatic if you have wet AMD, because your TV is going to be blurred. By the time it's starting to affect your vision,
they're going to take that leaflet and they're going to throw it straight in the bin.
That's on them.
That
No,
is.
they don't.
But
Why
you
do
know what?
patients
You
not
know.
care about their
You know
eyes?
what? You know what'll melt your heart is when they come back after 2 years and they show you the little leaflet that they gave them last year, and they say, "Oh,
Yeah, and it's all folded up. You're like, well, that's going to cause distortion
I've
anyway.
been checking it every week." That would melt my heart.
I've never had
Oh,
that.
you listen to me.
I
It melts my heart when I see my name's last person tested. It's like, oh, I tested you last time.
I know the previous subjective was right.
It melts my heart when I give them the Amazon. Like, oh, I've already got one of them. Don't worry about it.
No, that's like, oh, you don't use it.
Yeah.
But
Here, take another one.
just dot around the place. No, I get Amsler is just a straight line.
Yeah, I don't
But the
find much
thing is,
benefit in
because
using Amsler.
Amazon's not actually that accurate. It's only accurate 60% of the time.
I would never use Amsler in the test room generally.
I
would never generalize.
As in, very, very rarely would I pick up an Amsler and say, "Look at that," and tell me if it's straight.
I use Amsler.
I would use it.
frequently.
I would use an OCT.
No, 100. I agree.
Yeah, but if you can't use OCT, if you don't get an OCT,
God forbid, why would you?
no, as in like you can't get a clear image.
You can always
Try
get a better
harder.
image on OCT than you'll get a result on Amsler. Just
Debatable.
do a macular line, dilate into a macular line.
Clinically speaking, you can not do an OCT and use an Amsler.
Of course, you can if your store doesn't allow you to use OCT.
No,
but
no,
my
no,
store.
clinically speaking.
What do you mean?
As in, like, you can use an Amsler to.
It's still safe practice.
Of course,
safe
it's
practice.
of course. However, I think it's best practice. I think it's
It's
better.
best- It's I would agree to say that it's best practice to use an OCT.
I think
But I
it's-
wouldn't say that it's wrong to use an Amsler.
I wouldn't say it's wrong. I would say that I would feel more comfortable sending a patient away if I've done
If
an
I've done an
OCT
OCT.
compared to an Amsler. If they look at an Amsler, they look and say, "Oh, that's all right." I'm less confident than I am than if I've done an OCT dilated with a macular multi and I've made sure there's no edema and no fluid. I think one's more reliable than the other.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really
I
disagrees.
don't think there's any disagreement.
I think the problem comes when you have somebody who's declined OCT and then the practice doesn't allow you to just do one for free. Imagine being that guy.
All my practice I work at do allow you to do a free OCT, and I would work at a practice that doesn't. But that doesn't.
Of course.
That doesn't stop me saying it's well within the rights.
Of course,
to
it's
use the
within
private
their rights,
equipment
but
how they like to.
it's something that I wouldn't
It's well
necessarily.
within who's right.
I don't agree with that practice.
No. I
As in, if I had my own practice, I would implement.
agree, same. But I think it's well within the practice owner's right to refuse to do an OCT on someone for free,
Okay.
just because the
Clinically
clinician
indicated.
would like to get it done
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
I mean,
I would do that personally.
I never get a full OCT done if they've not paid for it.
Oh yeah, no, you
So
do
I
as
do
much
like
as
a
is.
specific OCT, because if they're not paying for it, then they're not paying for the full service unless they really need it. I just do like a macular OCT.
No, I do do what's required. If they are at risk of glaucoma, you do a glaucoma scan. If
Exactly.
they have
Yeah.
suspect wet AMD, you do the macular
Macular
scan,
scan.
and they wouldn't get it explained.
This is all satire and for entertainment purposes only. This is not clinical advice. Use your own clinical judgment based on your knowledge and expertise. Refer
All right,
to the
okay,
college's.
don't worry, I'll stick
advice
this in.
and
I'll
your
stick the
local-
original. We have an original.
I think we need more.
Any similarities or stories are purely fictional. There's no.
These are all made up scenarios, but
The-
none of these are real
these
patients.
are
What do you think
scenarios
this
None
is?
of our
for a
advice is
Disney
based off
movie.
of
This
real
is not a
practice.
real. We don't practice.
We're not even up on
We're not-
He's the dentist.
it. He wishes.
I'm an Amazon delivery driver
I just sell Amsterdam sharks.
and fridge magnets together.
One thing that I didn't expect in university, you don't have any office drama.
Oh yeah.
No,
No, you don't. You have university drama.
Yeah, but that's so
Yeah.
different. That's just uni mates. You don't have office drama, which is other people.
That's very true.
To be fair, I don't get involved in any drama. It's weird.
Yeah, but you like
Yeah,
there's
when
no
three of you,
experience.
you are
of-
the drama.
That's true.
He causes all the problems.
You
You
I
like
am-
to fight.
I-
He's the one I would
I'm
talk
the
about.
problem. I'm the
Listen, if
problem.
you're not talking about someone, that probably means you're the one I would talk about.
No, I think what happens is you get OAs come to you because they think you're like. They,
You know what you're doing.
You're
No, no,
you're
they-
able
they-
to sort it out.
yeah, they come to you and they complain about other people.
Mm.
I think always amongst each other will complain.
That- you
Because
know
you're
what?
involved, yeah.
And then they'll come to you because they know you're a pre-reg, so you're like more on their level,
Yeah.
but then you're still a level above.
Don't
So
think
they-
you're pre-reg,
The
just
store
said
that
you
I work in now has like no drama with my coworkers.
Again, there's three of you.
Literally, there's like 4 or 5
literally,
of us. Like,
There's 3 of
but
you.
the other store, you remember? Like, there are some people that had to be separated in the day.
Like,
because they
Rotors
wouldn't-
have to be shifted,
Yeah.
etc.
because they could not work in the same department as each other. And like I'd never seen anything like that before. I did not know that existed. Like I didn't.
Big story stuff.
But do you have that kind of drama with OAs, or would it be optoms as well?
No. The thing is, optoms.
Both.
The optoms would not have problems with each other, like very rarely. At least some of the specific optometrists did not have any problems with each other. Let's not get into that. Unless there was drama with like the OAs would get offended because an optom said something or did something, and then
it's always the OAs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always the OAs.
And the OAs are saying it's always the optoms.
Yeah, but like between the optoms, there was not much drama between them, like the department of optoms. But like the OA department always had like drama for some reason.
I mean, I think it's store specific. I know in other stores, we had a colleague who came from a different store. There's plenty of optom drama, and so much so that we even hear about the OA.
Yeah,
drama.
One of our colleagues was one of the reasons they left was because of optom drama.
But yeah, and that's not an isolated instance.
No.
That does happen in multiple places. It's not a case of OAs or it's not a case of optoms. It happens just when multiple people.
It's just our store was like that.
It's just numbers. It's just the more people you have, the more likely you are to have a couple of people who clash.
Yeah.
And naturally, the bigger stores will tend to are more frequently the ones that are harder to manage, and therefore it's harder to stay on top of that. But even in my old stores up in Scotland, there's still plenty of drama, despite their being smaller stores, etc. So that's something that, whilst in university you have your university drama, it's like you don't expect that, but it's like a workplace. Like every other workplace does have humans interacting with other humans, which comes with drama.
Yeah.
So that was a bit different. But I guess you would expect your university.
Did you cause any drama then?
I'm always the center.
Of course.
Always the center of it. Always stirring the pot.
Just
deliberately left an ad off so the OA would.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember when I was like dispensing. You just hear like the DOs and the OAs would just chat so much about how the optoms don't do this, like they don't take visions, they only do habitual RX, they don't do this, they don't do cover tests, they don't do BVD and things like that.
OAs are chatting about BV.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they don't measure this, they don't measure that, they don't
BVD.
record this, they don't record that.
Okay.
Like they never put PD on.
Why? What's your ruler for?
Huh?
What's the ruler for?
Why are the DOs there?
But like they're like, oh, they never write the PD in the test.
Do you write the PD in the test room?
No. But that's that. But like this, when I was an OA, basically, that's what I would hear from the other DOs and the OAs.
Are you meant to write the PD in the test room?
Huh?
I check PD on dispense. Well, I do it now actually with that when I test. I'll do the PD in the test room, but I'll write it on the board. So when they come to dispense, they've got it.
I do it with all the under 16s that need to get glasses because they're gonna get dispensed anyway. So instead of me having to check the PDs when they're out there, they just write it in and I know it's right. Because the PDs.
So you put it in their prescription.
Yeah, so they just write it in.
So what? They can go buy online glasses and cripple our economy.
No, they're not. It's not in our card.
Okay,
in the
go on the.
False alarm.
Would it go on the card? What do you mean? What's wrong with online?
But like, and then
giving patients choice.
And then I go up to like start testing and I chat with the optoms and like they don't know about any of the complaints that the DOs and the OEs are making. So they just created this whole drama about how optoms are incompetent and the optoms are none the wiser. They're just doing their own thing. Like no one's gone to tell them like, oh, can you do visions as well, please, for us?
No, it's just they always think optoms are all lazy, sat on their phones in their rooms, with their feet up while they're standing outside.
And we all think that the OAs are lazy because they're fantastic, amazing,
really good at their job,
hardworking.
best.
They are the backbone to the practice, of course.
So yeah, thanks for tuning in. That's us for today.